Welcome back to 321 Backlog, the podcast where two guys that can't stay consistent to save their lives are on a mission to count down their video game backlogs. My name is Alec, and I'm joined, as always, by James. Good morning. Afternoon.
Good morning. Yeah,
what time is it?
2:21 in the morning right now.
Oh, my God. Oh, another episode. We're going to get into it. You doing okay?
I'm doing really good. This is the second best day of my life. Last time we spoke, it was the best day of my life.
How's the energy? Good? We gonna get there?
Energy, I feel pretty good right now. Yeah, I worked out today. My dogs are sitting near me, so I get to smell that a little bit.
Awesome. And, so you've got guests in the studio, little four-legged guests.
In the studio, yeah.
Nice.
And I've been getting my computer really like teed in, been like kind of testing it out some, and it's been kind of fun, man. Done a lot of different stuff with it.
Awesome.
What a nightmare. Building PCs is not as fun as it used to be.
You know, you and I have been talking offline about mine, and there are certain components that are starting to show their age, and I just don't want to deal with it. Like, it's working fine.
I definitely felt that way for a long time.
I'm starting to see the limits on some of these newer games, but we'll see how it goes. So why don't we get into it'll be the second episode in a row. We're doing a new little intro segment.
Change.
We're doing, I don't know, we might keep flipping the order, but our backlog builders and what we've been playing. So seeing our lists right here, why don't we do what we've been playing recently since our last episode?
Yep. So would you like me to follow suit? You want me to start?
Well, mine are easy, so I can just go ahead and knock mine out. Then you can bring some variety in.
Okay.
Because mine's easy, same as last time. Because it's such a good game. We're still hell diving.
Yeah, diving straight to hell.
We're diving all the way down into our teammates, lining up that perfect shot and then headshotting somebody as they come in. Just such a good time. That's the only thing on my TikTok right now is Helldivers.
Helldiver stuff.
Yes. And I've also been playing a little bit more of Dave the Diver in preparation for this episode.
Yeah. Obviously I've played some Dave the Diver as well, but I want to say I've played Helldivers a lot too. It's fun. The boys love it. It's
so fun.
It is. It's a good time, man. I think everybody is resoundingly enjoying that game. Nobody I know that's played it is like, nah, it's not for me. I've played a lot of and finished the Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 on PlayStation 5. It was a game for sure. I was a big fan of the original. This one's pretty different. It was fun. I mean, I finished it, and I'm maybe going to wait a little while to get the second installment of it.
Mm-hmm.
SSX Tricky. Did you ever play that game?
At your house.
Yeah.
But I never owned it.
Yeah. Somebody I was talking to was like just looking at the emulation side of the Steam Deck, and I pulled that up and they was like, oh yeah, I remember that game. And then it got me kind of playing it again.
Does it hold up?
It does, dude. It's so good. It's just there hasn't even like the other games in that series just didn't have the niche of that one, I guess. Right. It was just good, man. It was so good.
It was a fun time. I remember I didn't play it as much as you did, but I played it every now and then when we would do like, game night, sleepover kind of things. And it was a fun game.
It was, man. It still is. You gotta try it out, man. Get your fingers wet. All right.
Well, let's hell dive over into our other part of this segment, which is going to be our backlog builders.
Yeah.
Where we talk about games that we have added to our backlog, which is always, every time we get something off there, we've got, 3 more games behind it.
It's fucking
at a minimum. So, what have you put on your backlog?
So, Final Fantasy Remake Part 2, whatever it's called. Elden Ring. I want to play that. I think it's going to like push my PC a little bit, which is kind of nice. And then Duck Game. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I don't think I have. I've heard of the Goose Game.
Yeah, it's not that. There's somebody, I can't remember who, Warner Brothers maybe, acquired the studio that owns Adult Swim, and I guess a lot of Adult Swim's games are probably going to be taken off the market now.
Oh,
So it's one that I want to get, but I'd prefer to wait for a sale.
right.
It's a multiplayer, just kind of crazy gun game looking, just craziness, but it looks very much like Super Nintendo style game. So I don't know. I want to, if it's cheap enough, I'll buy it. If it never goes on sale, I'm not going to miss it, but I don't want to pay full price for it because why would I do that? But yeah, what about you, bruh?
I have purchased and got locked and loaded just in case an Assassin's Creed game that I actually never played because I believe it was on the Vita, the Assassin's Creed Liberation.
Okay.
I'm believe that was the one that was locked to the Vita back in the day, but now I found it on Steam. It was on sale, so I went ahead and snagged it up. I have not played it yet.
It's on Steam, or how'd you buy it?
I believe it was on Steam, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I didn't know that was like possible.
Yeah, Ubisoft is always making it difficult, but it's on my Steam library. I know it'll probably launch the Ubisoft launcher, and then I got to lock it to my account so you can't share it and all that shenanigans,
right.
But I've got it, so I can eventually go and play it.
I will find a way to play. You know what I mean?
And then in talking with a potential future guest, I went ahead and grabbed 2 games from Annapurna, which we like some of their games.
Yeah.
One's called Journey, which I think is the one that we've discussed possibly about with this guest about playing and discussing it. And then another game called Flower. They're little walking, I don't even know how to describe them. I looked at them briefly, and they look very cozy, very relaxing. Good lazy Sunday kind of games, or like end of the night before bed kind of games.
Yeah, like I got to work in the morning and I don't want to have a nightmare.
Exactly. So I went ahead and grabbed those, and I'm actually looking forward to trying to actually knock those off, but they're on the backlog now since we've got them.
Yeah, it might have came through my mic, but I was just installing those games.
Cool. That's good. Fantastic. So, well, that I think will now take us into the bulk of the episode. We're going to talk about this week's game, which is Dave the Diver.
David the Diverson.
We briefly talked about this not last episode, 2 episodes ago, a game that I kind of picked up and started playing a little bit and was really enjoying it, and talked to you about it, wanted you to take a look at it. Go in blind as much as you could, because it is not what I was expecting for a game called Dave the Diver.
Right.
It's a load of fun, and I've really enjoyed this one.
We're gonna get into it. We'll talk about it.
All right, so let's get the game info out of the way. So, for a genre, this is like a casual adventure game. I keep seeing in all the Reddit posts and things, it's a cozy game.
That's a buzz term lately, dude.
Oh, very much.
Get your cat out, dude. It's a cozy game.
It's a single player game. There's no multiplayer. It was released in June of 2023, published and developed by Mint Rocket.
Yep.
It did just come out for the PS4 and PS5, I think earlier this month.
April 16th.
Or last month. And you can also find it on PC, which is how we played, and it should be available on the Switch. So if you haven't played it already, definitely go get it. It's in a lot of different places. I believe it's also Microsoft, so you should be able to play it on your Xbox as well.
I didn't even think about
that. I don't know about Xbox,
PC,
but it's on Microsoft.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you have it, dude. Just get it. You can play it.
Yeah.
You have one of those consoles. If you're listening to this, you have a console. You can play it.
You've got one of them. Most likely you've got one that this will play on.
You have a laptop.
Check it out. Right? It's real fun.
Yeah.
The critic scores, it scored very well across the board. IGN, a 9. Metacritic, it got 90%. And it got a 10 out of 10 on Steam. And I think I'm kind of in that vein. I agree with all these. It was very, very good.
9 or a 10? I have a gun to your head.
Ooh.
What do you think? I'm starting, my finger is starting to itch, and I'm scratching my finger with the trigger because you're not answering quick enough. It's getting really itchy.
I'd give it a 9.5.
Okay, man. Good guess. Good guess.
I don't think I gave it a full 10. I mean,
The gun went off. I'm sorry. You're now deaf in
oh
your left
no.
ear, but I missed the shot.
So there are some little things here and there. I mean, every game is going to have little bits. I'll try to bring it back up later on in the mechanics, but I just it's as close to a 10 as I can get without giving it a full 10. It's such a good game. It is a really good game.
Okay.
Well, so for our other bit of notes, this is one of the games that I brought to the show.
It is.
I think we
is.
both played on Steam. Let's talk about
play
art
your
style.
PC. Did you? I just want to say, did you play at your PC the whole time?
I played PC for 99% of it. I did load it onto the Steam Deck, but after playing and aiming your harpoon with a mouse versus a joystick, I preferred playing on the PC.
Oh, the mouse was better.
Yeah, I found it better. Yeah.
Insanity.
Yeah.
I was fully expecting you to say you couldn't play it on the PC without a controller or something.
No, there are some parts in the later game that I think would have been much easier with a controller.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've gotten this far yet, but there's one point where you end up having to control two characters at one time. So for me, it was WASD and directional pad, but and with hitting control on both sides. So basically, I had to use the keyboard as if I was playing two people. Which, thinking about it as I was playing, I was like, you know what? With two joysticks and trigger buttons, this would have been a lot easier on a controller.
It would have been A Tale of Two Brothers and go all over again.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but it
wasn't that good either.
Yeah, I think it was. You know, this is an interesting kind of game where I think there's surprisingly enough, there's so much this game that we're probably going to be all over the place, but
this game is all over the place.
Oh man, in such a good way. You know, every time you switched between different game modes, I'll call them, or different game segments, whatever it is, you were playing in one segment or one style for a long enough time to make it enjoyable, and then you would switch to something else. So that bit I talked about where I'm controlling two characters, it wasn't for a frustratingly long amount of time. It was just enough time to make it enjoyable, and then it got you out of it and then got you back to something else. Right. So, and we'll go in more depth there later on, but graphics and or art style, what'd you think? Because I found it was great.
So I'm kind of conflicted because the game looked really good. Like, I feel like there was the perfect mesh of pixel art style. Like, that was very, very well done. Like, there were parts where they made like a full screen picture of something and you could clearly see every single detail while still being like an 8-bit pixel or whatever.
Right.
I don't like pixel art though.
Same. But
they did such a good job with it that I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I will deduct the 1 point because I don't like it, generally speaking. But I think in all honesty, they did a perfect job at it. It's just not for me. Sorry.
No, it's not for me either. I think if the game, if like the theming of the game is okay to be is like childish or goofy in some way, I think pixel art fits.
Right.
Going over back to a game that I just absolutely loved, Sea of Stars.
Oh, you hate that game, you
I
liar.
I feel like that game, the tone of the game was a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
Than it should have been for pixel art when they had these amazing artists behind it. Switching over to Dave the fucking Diver, it's a goofy ass game. It doesn't have to be serious.
Bob the fucking Builder.
So these, this pixel art works perfectly for it because it's not super serious.
Right.
So I thought it was great. I'm not a fan of pixel art either, but I think this was done very, very well.
Yeah, dude. Some of the like lower, maybe more zoomed out environments of the game were really nice, dude. Like the diving area, specifically the blue hole or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Super, super aesthetic looking. Like,
oh, it was really nice.
Because it wasn't so zoomed in. It was good. It was a 10, dude. I take it all back. Perfect. Sign me up for Helldivers 2 or whatever. Dave the Divers 2.
Right. So what about sound quality?
It was really good. I bet you if I play this more, I will remember the theme for like the underwater. If I played it more, I bet you it'll be a memorable. As I said in every other podcast, like the songs or whatever are not memorable. This game, I feel like it will stick with me the more that I play it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was really good. There are different segments you go into of this game that we'll discuss further, but you know, the music fit very well. I think the where it really shined for the music adding to the atmosphere is definitely in the blue hole.
I really like the music diving. in the sushi shop a lot.
Yeah.
It was just like, God, it was so good, man. Every once in a while, my wife and I go to this sushi restaurant, and they always have like lo-fi that's Japanese inspired playing there because it's like a more modern take on, I don't know, it's basically bancho sushi. Dude, it's, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of that. It's nice. I like it.
Yeah, that was really good. There was no voice acting. There was a little bit of the
Alec.
Well, so again, this is kind of in the vein of similar to like an Overcooked, where yes, they're making noises, but there's no it's putting more focus on the text that you're reading, and it gives it more of like a comic book feel to me.
There's like a common thing where I guess it is in this game, but I notice in a lot of Nintendo games, like when a character pops up on screen and has something to say, they don't voice act it out. They'll just like Toad will be like, meh, or Mario will be like, ahoo, and then it'll say the text that he says or whatever.
Right.
And that's what this game does. It just makes like a noise. There was even one character that sounded just like the robots in Stray.
Yeah. So I know this kind of breaks my rule, but they weren't putting too much emphasis on the noises that were being made. They're focusing on the text.
So that's what you're okay with.
Yes, this is where it makes sense to have to not have voice acted. This is different from how Ori is, and different from how Brothers and I would say Stray, but that had theming behind Submerged. Yeah, those are completely different in my eyes when it comes to how they're portraying dialogue.
Yeah.
So
I liked it. It was cool. I even like it. So in a lot of games where they use that, Fire Emblem is another series I know they do it. I do not like the way that I don't like the characters like sound effects or whatever. Like if somebody says something surprising, they'll just have like somebody gasping. They'll be like,
right.
And then that's the only sound clip they have, and it'll just have like ellipses.
Right.
Dot. I don't like that at all. Oh, I love it. But yeah, I don't like that. The way they did it in this game, it was just like almost a sound effect or like a wah wah wah, and that was it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was just it fit the goofiness of the game pretty well.
100%.
Alec, I'm just kidding.
So why don't we go ahead and jump down into?
We'll dive right into it.
We'll dive
right into it.
We'll dive right into the gameplay and the mechanics. A lot to choose from here.
Yeah. Yes.
But I think we should start with the core mechanic, which is diving. Because you're daving, you're diving, you're going down into the deep blue hole. My wife's name in college.
Oh God.
Oh no. No, so you are a diver, and you are harpoon fishing, and you are getting fish to go into a sushi restaurant. But we'll come back to that. So
first of all, they don't even present it to you like that. The guy asks you if you want sushi. That's how the game starts. The dude Cobra calls you, and he's like, "You want to go get sushi?" And Dave's like, "Hell yeah, I want to go get sushi." And then he takes him out on a boat, and he's like, "Go get some fish."
That's right.
Everyone is just taking advantage of this guy.
Yes.
I don't know if that changes, but good Lord.
Cobra doesn't seem like he's on the straight and narrow.
No, he seems like every conversation with a name like he has, Cobra. He says Cobra $$. I think this is a tag on the internet.
Yes.
He's got like facial scars. That's always a bad sign for a guy on your team.
Never a good sign.
Fucking funny though.
Oh my Lord.
Then we got some other mechanics, I believe we call them.
Yeah, so the diving is simple controls, up, down, left, right, or the joystick if you're playing on a controller. I played PC. I preferred it, but I did play it on the Steam Deck. It plays just as good. I think maneuverability is better with a controller, but everything else I actually really enjoyed using the keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
The second main mechanic is, or I think more so than the diving, is the fishing. So when you're diving, there are fish floating around, swimming around everywhere, and you have to aim your harpoon. You have a limited area to aim in, and then you shoot it, you catch it or not. And there's even little kind of like mini games. Would you call it a mini game or like a
side quest? Like
a stress mechanic almost. Like if the fish is too strong.
Fish is too strong. You have limited oxygen. You have a weight limit of stuff you can carry. Is that what you mean?
No. So the more you play, so the deeper you go, the fish become more hardy, I guess, and more difficult to
So it'd be like
catch.
you have to input button command. QuickTime events.
QuickTime events would be more accurate. So each one changes based on the weapon you're using, or the type of harpoon you're using.
Oh, I thought it was based on the fish. I didn't realize that.
No. So for your basic harpoon, if you catch them and you are almost able to catch them just outright, you'll like have to smash the space bar and fill up a little meter.
Right.
And then if you fill it all the way up and keep it there for so long, it'll catch the fish. Or if you're using like a poison tipped harpoon, instead of doing smashing spacebar for the mouse, you literally have to take your mouse and move in a circle really fast.
Oh, I hate that.
Right? And it fills up a meter. There's I think a fire one where you have to like spam AD on your keyboard over and over. So it changes based on what gun you're using or what harpoon type you're using, not based on the fish.
Yeah, I think I don't think you spam AB. I think it shows you a button command and you just have to push it.
Right, but again, it just depends on which one. So the fire one, excuse me. So the fire one's different from the ice one. So it'd be different unique commands or unique mechanics or quick times.
Yeah.
Than just button presses. Some
That's a really
some
nice
of them.
addition.
One of them, it brings up a little half circle meter, and there's a bar, and you have to hit spacebar when it gets to a certain point. And if you hit it wrong, it'll go down, and the fish will get farther away. So you have to like hit it just right each time.
I saw that one too. Yeah.
So I thought it was really cool to mix it up. So you have to like pay attention to what harpoon type you're using. And it's going to be, it'll be different. It'll be the same for that one. But if you find like a better one in the environment, you then have to like switch what you're doing.
Did you have a favorite mechanic for that?
I like the one because I was using a mouse, so it's easier than a joystick. For this, I like the ones where you spin the mouse around.
Are you using a Razer mouse?
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, the Razer Death Adder.
I don't remember what I have, but it might be. Oh, yours is okay. I have that one.
The Death Adder Pro.
It's beautiful. Sorry, I just noticed it has the same bottom, basically.
Oh yeah,
I'm like looking down at mine. I'm comparing. I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
All right.
I liked the mechanic where you had to like the little gauge you had to fill up and like tap it, because I felt like that one was the most challenging, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was nice because instead of it just being a numbers game where it's like you have a harpoon strong enough to catch a fish, there was like always something to keep you a little more engaged.
Right. And
cool.
certain fish may look unimposing and like, oh yeah, I'll get that one. But if you're too far deep, they're hardier. So it depends on how deep you are and all this. So it wasn't always a guaranteed catch. So it was enough to keep you engaged.
There were also fish that would attack you. They're sharks, but there were also just fish that would attack you. And I like how you mention it to Cobra, and he's like, yeah, that's a strange thing. Yeah. And then he just moves on. He's like, yeah, that shouldn't be happening probably. And then he just doesn't.
Unbothered. It's like, whatever.
Yeah, he's like, whatever.
But yeah, there are different kinds of sharks. There are the lionfish that are really aggressive. There are these big yellow ones. I forget what they're called.
Titanfish?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I liked beating them to death with baseball bats underwater.
The farther you go down, there ends up being crabs that will lunge at you, and ones that will like hop and jump around to get you.
Were there some eel in there that you can kill? Or no? I never tried, but I just ignored them.
once you get into the night fishing, you can attack them during the daytime, and I don't know if you can catch them, but you can kill them if they stick their head out far enough.
Well, you can probably and then harvest meat.
I can't remember how it
Eel
does it.
sounds like something you could get.
Yeah, it's the moray eels, but they save those. I don't think they let you catch them because for probably story reasons. But once you get access to nighttime fishing, then they leave their holes and you can capture them that way. But
I never fished at night actually.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
The fishing at night there are a lot more aggressive fish out, so it's a lot more dangerous to be out there.
How does that work with the sushi restaurant?
You cut into your working time because they don't open unless you're there. So if you want to fish at night, you either close for the night, or the day is broken up into 6 segments: early morning, afternoon, and then 3 nighttime sections. And you gain access to a sushi restaurant that we haven't talked about yet. Everything you catch goes to the sushi restaurant. And during those 3 nighttime segments, you can open and help work by serving your customers as Dave. And if you decide
he also never wanted to do.
Nope, you never wanted to do that. Yep. If you nighttime fish, you'll lose one of those segments every time you come back to the boat. So I feel like I want to let you get in here, but keeping that clock in mind, every time you dive, and even if you dive and then immediately come back up to go back to the boat, you expend one of those daytime segments.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't know you could ever have the option to fish at night at all. Okay. I did notice that there was like maybe later on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I know you're still playing it, and I think I've put probably 3 times as much time into it. So I've gotten a lot farther down.
I might say you put 20 times as much time into it.
Maybe. For meters wise, I think I can go 600 meters down right now.
Okay. I don't know what my depth is. So you can upgrade that a lot more than it seems like.
Yeah. I've upgraded my harpoon all the way. You can upgrade your suit all the way to be able to take more of the pressure of the water.
Right.
You can upgrade your storage so you can carry more. You have a knife that you can like cut seaweed with, and that gets stronger. So each thing is pretty much upgradable, which is really nice.
Yeah, I was kind of worried that there were like 3 levels to that, and it would become irrelevant very quickly. But I'm nowhere near diving 600 meters, so
yeah,
you must get a lot of oxygen.
I think I'm really close to the very end of it.
It's cool that you're not at the end of it, though.
Yeah, and when I say the end of it, I think I'm nearing the end of the story.
Right,
but I think there's plenty because there is an in-game calendar that like I'm in like November 10th or something. Like there are events tied to the calendar. So in theory, this could go on 365 times and then repeat. I don't know if they're going to do seasons because once we go from like into December and January on that clock, I don't know if they're going to be like snowy elements or something. We are in a tropical place. Right, so it's themed to be tropical. So I don't know if it messes with seasons or anything.
I've never thought of that as being a possibility.
I don't know. Yeah. So I could see the story having a clear end, but I could see this being playable indefinitely.
Right. Well, I did see a comparison of it to other games like Animal Crossing, where it's something you can play every single day, and you don't have to join in the whole time. You know.
Right.
You don't have to just crank out the whole game. And that's probably the way I'm going to play it, because I will keep playing this game, but I don't want to just sit down and play it for 8 hours. I want to play it gradually for a long time, because I feel like that's really the best way to play it for me.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I think they are aware that there's people that are going to want to do that. And I think that contributes to the rating.
I think the longest stretch, one session I did was like over 6 hours. And I think that's only possible because at most, because you have a carrying capacity, you're diving, you're going to get to a limit to where you can't move. So you have to return to the surface, which then moves the clock, right? And then once you do that so many times, then it goes into the nighttime, and the game wants you to go engage with the sushi restaurant. And that's a whole nother type of gameplay.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like you like turn your diving brain off and go play essentially a different game.
Yeah. So initially I want to comment about that too, because initially I wasn't really into the sushi restaurant part at all. And I was like, man, can I just dive a little bit? Because you start out and you dive and it's like over in 30 seconds because you have like no air.
Yeah.
And you can't go deep. You just see the same fish. But then like as you get upgrades, you start being able to stay under longer. And then when the sushi part comes around, it's kind of a nice little break from doing that. And it's it's entirely a different mechanic. It's kind of like Overcooked, how there's like a lot going on and you're managing, like you have to clean the tables when people leave, pour the tea. And that's where a lot of the goofiness comes into the game too.
I would probably equate it to it's not that Overcooked is incorrect by any means, but I really liked the mobile game back early days of smartphones, Diner Dash. You remember that?
I recall, but I never played it. But I do
it's
remember
such
that
a
game.
fun
I
game.
knew you were going to say that,
right? So it gave me Diner Dash feels. If anybody played or liked Diner Dash, the OG Diner Dash, because now it's different. So that might age me a little bit, but it was like that. But instead of going all across the restaurant, you're at a sushi bar, so you're just going left to right. You've got your chefs doing their stuff.
Yeah,
you get employees that can help you.
Yeah.
So and they have different skills. So I've got a meathead and this little anime girl helping Bancho. And then my two servers are just two generic servers. One girl can replenish the wasabi for me, and then the other one can pour drinks for me. Because there's like, if somebody orders a beer or something, there's a little mini game to pour the beer.
Dude, pouring drinks is stressful because people, there's like an animation when you completely like pour it perfectly.
Yep.
Pouring it perfectly takes longer. Then you get the animation that says perfect. But during this time, the other patrons of the sushi restaurant are getting aggravated that they're not being served.
Yeah.
So I found myself trying to pick dishes that did not include tea with them.
Yeah. It was... to how we got on this, it was a really nice break. It was a way to separate, so you're not doing one tedious and monotonous thing, or having the risk of a game component become tedious.
Right.
It gave it a nice break, which was really good. So, I also found out for when you start playing again, you don't have to max out your menu.
Oh, well, you do,
because if you have like all three segments, at most. And I'm much farther than you. At most, I'm going to sell like 25 dishes.
Yeah.
So So what I was doing was like, I can put up 50 of this basic one and then another 20. Like I put up like 100 available dishes, but that consumes those ingredients.
Okay, I didn't know that. So
and you lose it. Yeah, I didn't know that either. So I was burning through fish meat like crazy. So then I had to go fish more. But you could just like. There's like a baseline like rice and basic fish or whatever that people can order if you run out of specialty stuff, which is what we're fishing for. So it promotes restraint, trying to like just give you enough to get stuff out there. So
that makes me wonder how much fish I wasted.
Yeah, I found out super late. So I was like, man, I just had all this fish. Where'd it go? And
yeah, I guess maybe I knew that, but I didn't. I thought that it just tried to serve all of it until you were out of fish.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah. I don't know. I like the idea of them. You give the fish while they're alive, I think, to the guy, and they keep them in a tank, right?
Yeah, so you can unlock breeding pods or breeding pools where you can like.
Okay, I didn't know all that.
Where you can keep extra fish that you've caught, and if there's multiple, and if there's multiple of the same kind of fish, they will lay eggs, and more fish will spawn.
Interesting.
So then you can keep sending more to the kitchen, or you can sell them for a profit.
Now I'm starting to see why you like this game.
Yes. And there's no mini game for that. It's just put the fish automatically go in there,
right?
And it will kind of like go on its own, and there is a maximum limit, and then you can go and harvest the fish. Like it's more like farming them than anything else.
Imagine a sushi restaurant where the fish are alive before they go on your table. Like that would be pretty insane.
What?
Like you go to a sushi restaurant and there's a tank behind you. Like the way you get a lobster, but they cook it, but they like grab a fish. I think maybe it'd be like traumatizing for children, but they get the fish out and then they just kill it, cut it up, and sushi it.
I know.
Doesn't get much fresher than that.
From what YouTube shows me on those, when you doom scroll for 3 hours, I'm pretty sure there are restaurants in like Japan that are on whatever body of water they're fishing on, and I've watched a full not a supercut, but a full unedited thing of them cutting up the fish. Like I don't know if that's technically butchering, but basically getting the fish meat out of the fish, and it gets cleaned and then goes right to the chef's hands, where he like is slicing it thin, putting it on rice, and then it goes onto a plate, right, like all in one motion. I don't know if it was on ice or if it was in a tank or not, but I don't know. I don't think that would happen here in
Japan.
US, yeah. All right, so where did we leave off? So we were talking about sushi. There's fish farming. There ends up being like vegetable farming as well. So you can get fresh cucumbers for different rolls. You can get a special kind of rice to put in your stuff. So there ends up being a more traditional farming side of it, but it's similar. You just visit like once a day. It doesn't eat into your time, and it's like just plant, water, get out. It's nothing too complicated. I think that's it. And then the last thing I had is the harpoons. There ends up being guns, so you can take an underwater rifle or a tranquilizer gun or a net gun, and they can be upgraded and changed to have different like elements and stuff in them, like a fire, an ice gun, a poison gun, whatever.
Poison gun seems a little unethical.
Well, it's basically taking a fish that does poison damage and making a edit to your gun,
sure,
to where it shoots those poison things. It just puts a damage over time on them.
Yeah. Also, I like how there's like a fire harpoon, as if there's fire underwater at any point ever.
Always.
The game is so goofy. I feel like the game isn't like, we're not able to portray how goofy this game really is. If we were doing, it's bonkers. It's bananas.
If we were doing a visual podcast, we could not talk about this without giving screenshots
or video, just video footage of some of the animations that occur in this game.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
So anything else before we get into storyline and talk about some of those moments?
Storyline. No.
Okay. So you played the intro most recently. Do you want to take us through how it starts again? Because I'm a little rusty on how it starts out.
So I don't know what Dave's doing. He's just laying on the beach. A crab tries crawling on him, and he puts the crab on the ground, and he's like, no. I don't know the reason. Just weird. And then he gets a call from this guy, Cobra, and it looks like he's asking if he wants to go get sushi. So Dave's like, let's go get sushi. He gets on a plane, flies out to wherever Cobra is, and then Cobra has him out on a boat, and he's like, all right, dive in and get us some fish. And then you get the fish, and he's like, by the way, I'm opening a sushi restaurant. And Dave's like, do I get free sushi? And he's like, you can get some sushi, but you're gonna have to pay for it. And then he makes you work at the restaurant, and then every single person that comes up and asks anything, Cobra's like, yeah, he's your guy, he'll do it for you. And Dave is just this overweight guy who has no business doing any of this stuff.
Oh man.
And he's like, everyone's just rude to him the minute that they meet him. Like somebody's like, wow, I didn't know, can't believe you're a diver, you're overweight. And he's like, I don't know why you would say that. Like his responses are always so level-headed. Like I don't understand why that's the first thing you would say to me.
It definitely, it seems like Cobra is not just straight and narrow by any means. Kind of sleazy is what I get, and Dave is probably like to some degree probably a piece of shit because he's like
it's to some degree probably a complete and total dirtbag.
So that's kind of your main character and the guy that you're doing most of your interfacing with to get this story going are probably not two of the they're just seeing dollar signs. Like that's their main motivation is getting money.
Boncho has some charm to him though. I don't really know why, but he's like he's a pretty likable guy.
So wasn't there like a storm or something that ended up like destroying part of the sushi restaurant at first?
Which really didn't need to happen, but I guess it like the night that it opens, a storm happens or an earthquake or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But part of the restaurant gets damaged badly, but they're still able to open. But every penny that you make has to go to fixing it. It might just be a way to get you familiar with the mechanic of the money without allowing you to spend it on upgrades. Right. It was done well enough to where it wasn't like, what the fuck? This is padding content. It was good. It was fine. It was just like, is there more to it? I don't know.
Well, if memory serves, I think the earthquakes, because it was an earthquake, I believe that ties into something with the story later on. Because there was a source to that, yeah.
Was it a gigantic squid?
Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, you see that eventually. At some point, like right after that night, you see like a ship going, and then the squid just like stops it and pulls it under. Yeah. Not your ship, just someone else's like cargo ship.
That's right. So, yeah. So the like capitalist piece of shit category kind of stops with Dave and Cobra, and we meet Bancho or Boncho.
I feel like Boncho sounds more Japanese.
He is going to be your sushi chef. So he does all the cooking. So you start providing him with the fish, and then he kind of, from a culinary standpoint, maintains the food that's going out. You just help serve and stuff like that. So
yeah.
But he's probably one of my favorite characters just because of his animations.
The animations in this game are what, to me, like some of them had me laughing. Like there was one, it was very early on in the game. You unlock, I think it's like one of the recipes you unlock, and he's like sharpening his like knife, and he like holds it up as a cherry blossom falls off of a cherry tree above him, and the little blossom like falls just so that it cuts itself in half down the edge of the blade and lands delicately on a sushi, and then the camera zooms in further to a fish tank behind it, and the fish is just sitting there like mouth open in shock at what happened. Like it's fucking out of control, dude. Every single little animation is just like that.
When we decided to do this for the show, I wanted to take screenshots so badly, but I was so like dialed in to while I was playing that I could not fathom doing anything else than just watching these animations. They were so good.
So the only reason I was able to take any screenshots again is the just it was easy to like hit a button, but anytime I saw an animation like load up, I was like hovering the little keystroke to screenshot because it was like, I know something ridiculous is about to happen.
I can't tell you how often I like full belly laughed.
Yeah.
Just I had to like lean back. I just could not stop. It was so funny. And I think I grabbed my phone a couple times before, because I was playing this a little bit before we talked about doing this, and I would send you just a picture of like something fully out of context, probably something Banjo is doing. Is like, hey, this is from a game called Dave the Diver, and it's like some guy with a katana, cutting sushi. It was just crazy. Love it. Past those three gentlemen, everybody else kind of are just fully side characters.
Yeah,
that we can kind of just quickly touch base on. Some I have fully forgotten their name. You meet somebody called Otto, who ends up managing your vegetable farm and your fish farming.
Okay.
So he's your main interface to keep track of that, who ends up having a son. So every character outside of the first three, I don't know what they're referencing there, but everybody else that we're going to be talking about, you can see who they pulled inspiration from in creating the character.
Right.
Otto has a son. I don't know who he's themed after. Has a son who's like a world famous rapper, and like in the game, it's like I can't remember what, but it's like I don't know if it's this person, but it's like they modeled him after like Chance the Rapper or something.
Okay.
But they changed part of his name to be like a parody.
Okay, I'm looking at Otto, and off the top of my head, I can't think of anything.
So
there's like a picture of him crying. What the fuck is this game?
All right, we have Duff, the weapon specialist, who's like a fat gamer
like
guy,
gamer looking dude.
He's like a weeb that's like loves the anime girls and stuff. And there's a mission where you have to go find a Sailor Moon-esque doll character that got like pulled to the bottom of the ocean. It's like something like that. Otto, I don't know who he was. He's related to his son is MC Sammy. I don't know who he was modeled after. But anyway, he's like a rapper. Anyway, it seemed like they were trying to pull off of people. They have a mini game that's kind of like Pokemon, the trading card game.
Yeah, I like they introduce a way to keep track of all the fish that you find or catch. And Dave's like, oh, you mean it's like, and he's like, whoa, you don't want to be saying the name. Like, I understand.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Or wait, no, the other guy, I think, tries to say it's like a Pokédex, and Dave says, like, you don't want to say the name. I screenshot that. It's funny because in retrospect, I didn't realize that guy was supposed to look like Ash Ketchum. But so now with the screenshot, it's like he's just like a very fat, gross.
He's dressed like Ash Ketchum, and his name is Sato. And apparently, from Pokemon fandom, Sato Ketchum is Ash's dad.
That is pretty deep.
So, from Dave the Diver, the character model is like overweight. He looks like he's been playing Pokemon games for 40 years.
Yeah.
He's got a beard, and you can see his,
double chins
that he
has.
His
beard. Yeah.
It's real fun. And yeah, you get like a little phone application in the game to like keep track of your fish that you've caught in the form of like trading cards, and they look similar to Power World cards.
That's good.
Oh man, and there's so much. One of the have you gotten challenged by any other chefs?
No. Well, no. There was like a food critic woman that I made a shark dish for, but I don't think that's not what you're talking about.
No. So farther on, there's a guy who looks like somebody from Iron Chef comes to challenge Bancho to like a cook-off kind of thing. And that one's real fun. It looks like the Asian guy from Iron Chef, but like in a very satirical way. So he's a reoccurring person where every couple days in game you get he comes with a news crew and a challenging chef to challenge you to a certain type of cuisine, which then Dave has to go down and find ingredients and do all this, that, and the other within the time frame to then let Bancho compete. And they're again amazing animations. Like when somebody wins or loses, there's just a hilarious set of scenes that start, and it's just amazing.
There was another animation that occurs that I feel like the gameplay of this game is good, but the animations are fucking insane. There's like food inspectors when you get this app that is like Instagram for food specifically.
Yeah.
So they come in and they like check everything in the restaurant. Like they're like holding up the soy sauce and like really inspecting it. They're like picking things up. But there's one screenshot that I grabbed, and it's like the guy is looking at something with his glasses on, and he has like a sleeve thing on to denote that he's like of that works for that application, and the woman is just holding a fish like 3 inches from her face, like face, and the fish looks terrified. It's just, and it's pixel art, but it's so well done, and it's just funny.
I think it's like pixel edges, but they actually have like really good shading, and the coloring is perfect to where there's a ton of detail, even though it's pixel art. So it's so good. Yeah, it was like Cooksta. Instead of like Insta, it's Cooksta.
Yeah.
Cookstagram.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think of Insta like as it being. I guess I guess I forgot people call it Insta.
Yeah.
Now we just call it IG.
Yeah. You can interact with the social media app called Cooksta, similar to Instagram, and you could like stuff that people post on there, and that will give you you can like get upgrades through that if you have customers that are really satisfied.
Yeah.
They'll like leave you reviews and stuff.
I wanted to mention too, there's so much charm in that too. Like Boncho was like, I don't really do social media. And you're like, well, you should. Like, it's, why not market yourself a little bit? And he's like, fine. And then he posts pictures to it, Boncho does, and they all suck. Like there's one picture where he takes a selfie and his fucking thumb is halfway over the camera lens and posts it, and he's like, I opened a sushi restaurant. And then he posts another one where he takes like a close-up of, I think, wasabi or something, but like you can clearly see like his shadow of his body holding the camera taking the whole picture up. Like this, it's every single thing that they did. There's so much humor in this game.
Oh yeah, it's like the developers or the game itself, however you want to phrase it, is very aware of itself, but it works so well.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It's I have not had a single time where I've been upset with anything I've seen on camera or on the game. It's been so good all the way through. There is one other guy we haven't mentioned. It's kind of a minor thing. It's this game's version of like collectibles, I think, would be your quote unquote Pokemon cards and your pictures. You meet an NPC that wants you to take underwater pictures.
Okay.
And at certain points in the map, because the map does change. I don't know if you've noticed that.
It's never the same map, yeah.
Right. Like the first couple layers, like from 0 to like 50 meters has a couple different options. And then below that, in like 50 to 100 meter segments, there's a couple different layouts it might take, which is really cool. It gets a little frustrating when you're trying to find something specific because you don't know what you're going to get. But it does simulate, the boat might not be in the same spot when they dive. So it's a way to make 3D use.
They also made a point to say that whatever's under there changes every day too. They do say that.
Yeah. I wonder if that's saying to the player that you're going to have some rotation, or if it's the characters saying to one another that there's some shenanigans going on underwater.
I think it was shenanigans underwater.
I think it was the former.
Well, okay. Well, they mentioned that there's like fish that shouldn't be there that are there, and then they said like,
well, that is to stuff you haven't gotten to yet.
It's a black hole, blue hole, dude.
Yeah. So there's some stuff that
it was.
Yeah, which is we have no confirmation whether that's wrong or not. I haven't finished the full game, so there could be something to it. But
yeah,
I know when you go further, there's less change. It seems to only be at the very top, because if we could imagine, I can't see myself, but if we can imagine the hole as we go down, it's going to get more and more concentrated on the things that we're interacting with at the bottom.
Right.
So we're simulating which way is it turning.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
So, because once we get down to the bottom and interact with some stuff that I'm about to bring up when we get into like true spoilers and stuff, there's less that you can have change without messing with the game itself.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a guy that back to what I can't remember if I finished that thought, but there's a guy that does collectibles. He wants like pictures, underwater pictures. So the map you'll randomly run into like, a pink dolphin or something, and it's like, oh, that's really rare. Let's take a picture for that guy.
So that was the thing I wanted to. I did it in my notes. Put a lot of dolphins. I remember thinking like, all right, I'm gonna get this story moving along so I have some content. And then every time I dove in the water, this dolphin was like saying it needs help. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But it happened like over and over and over again. And it's fine because it gives you like rewards and stuff. But I was also like, man, this dolphin sucks.
There are side quests that how you access them is kind of random based on what map layout you get. And that dolphin one is like a side quest line.
Yeah.
Which I
somebody
really,
hunting a dolphin or something.
Yeah. When we talk about like games that do optional quests and things like that, I feel like this one was laid out differently in a good way, where you could pursue it if you want, but then also to pursue it because the map is changing. There may be quote unquote days within the game where you're unable to interact with it because that map layout is wrong.
Yeah.
I did like that. Nothing felt like it was super forced. There was some stuff that felt forced that I then figured out that they were more optional than I realized.
Right.
So keep that in mind. If anything's tied to a certain date in game, you can always let it go. Anyway,
it's nice. There's not like a missable content type of thing.
True.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah. So I want to throw up a quick spoiler wall. We've been talking about a little stuff, but there's one big thing we haven't mentioned. So I'm going to toss up a quick spoiler wall. So just be mindful. Also for you, James, you're going to be hearing this for the first time.
Oh no.
So be warned. So there is a line of quests. The main quest you go down, the farther and farther you get into the blue hole, you start meeting sea people. They're like mermaids, essentially.
Okay.
And so there's a whole big thing with them, and I won't go too into depth for your sake, but there's like a whole underwater city with like more NPCs to talk to. That leads you into some lore around these sea people and like them being a really ancient civilization and stuff like that. And it really goes into like a fantasy plot in the background to this guy running a sushi shop. And it's when you like start to zoom out at what the game is, you're this big overweight guy running a sushi shop and diving for fish that meets mermaids and starts talking about like the history of their mer people and all this. And it's so crazy and super fun. I won't go too into depth with that because I do think some of the interactions you had mentioned, every time somebody meets Dave, they're like super mean to him.
Yeah.
And there's one sea person in particular that keeps that going to a comical degree. And it's very, very funny. And it's like he's the sea person equivalent of like just a coward. So Dave keeps like getting him out of sticky situations and is like, aren't you glad I was there to get you to where you needed to go? Like he's taking credit for something Dave was doing. And it is just, really, really fun. Also,
how far in does that start?
I'd say probably 10 hours. No, it's
okay.
Maybe 10. This game is easy to get carried away on the fishing and the sushi. So you could easily play for 20 hours without doing any of the story if it relaxes you that way. So it's the game time is a little skewed. I think it'd be around like by the 10-hour mark, you'd meet the sea people if you were focusing on the story.
Okay.
So
I got you.
But there's one other thing. This isn't really spoiler, but for you specifically, when you meet the environmental conservation guy, who's like,
yes, yeah,
he was like, yeah. When you follow that quest line, there ends up being a Metal Gear Solid-esque mission, and it's so funny. So Dave
I can't
actually
wait.
gets out of the water and is like sneaking by people with like
Jesus Christ.
with machine guns, and he has to hide behind cardboard boxes, and he doesn't get in one,
Right.
but it's very, very fun.
That's
So
great.
you'll have to give that a go. I could see myself playing this off and on indefinitely. Like, I don't see how it could get old. Like, it
Maybe if you just really have everything maxed out and
True.
there isn't anything
True.
else to see, but
Yeah. But so yeah, did we anything else that we can think of that we haven't mentioned about the game?
No, I mean, I think we hit all
Awesome.
of my points just in discussion, and
Yeah.
it was
Well, then I think we should get into final thoughts.
a good. I'm gonna keep playing it. I think you are too.
Awesome.
You've played it a good bit more than I have, but it's a good game for just. It's not expensive. I feel like anybody could enjoy this game. The challenging parts of it are not too challenging, but you obviously can do things to make it easier or harder on yourself. It's funny. If you don't find this game funny, fuck you.
I second that.
You didn't see that coming.
Oh no. So yeah, I agree. It was surprisingly entertaining for what it is. The name of the game is misleading in what you're going to get, but also extremely accurate.
Right.
So I mean, if I just saw if I came into any of like the sushi bits or fighting with any of the crazy underwater sea life that you end up encountering, and like my son was playing and I came in, he's like, "What are you playing, Dave the Diver?" What? That doesn't make any sense. So it's a very fun game. You got to go check it out. And I think that's going to do it for us. So what about our next game? I think you're up.
I'm going to be picking Fable. I didn't even realize it, but we have a copy of it, The Lost Chapters, on Steam.
Nice.
It's, I guess, like the expanded version of the first game, but we had a mutual friend when this game came out that liked this game a lot.
Yeah.
It's on my backlog list, like the one we typed up when we started this. I wanted to go with something kind of older.
Right.
And
I think I've played. I know I've played 2. I've played 3. I'm excited for 4 if it ever comes out, but I never played the first one.
Okay.
So
well, that's good.
That'll be good.
I think it's going to be kind of rough because it's a very old game, but I'm looking forward to it just because it's kind of iconic, and I know a lot of people really liked that game, and I have a copy of it physically in a laptop bag from when we were all working at the same place together.
Oh,
and he brought it in for me. Yeah.
This was like what, the mid 2000s?
Shit,
like 2005 to 2005 to 7 would have been
Perhaps.
in that time frame. So, man. All right, cool. So we're gonna be playing Fable: The Lost Chapters next episode. That'll do it for us. You can find us on Linktree for everywhere that we can be found. linktr.ee/321backlog. That'll link you to our X page, TikTok, if it still exists, Instagram, and anywhere else. We have an email, 321backlog@gmail.com. We've actually gotten some emails prior to this. So hit us up. Let us know how much we're annoying you each week.
Fucking up.
Yeah. We'll read it on air if anything comes in, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
No. Asterisk maybe. So yeah. Join us next episode. Join us next time for Fable. That's gonna do it for us. Goodbye.
Good night.